Before the story begins, imagine this. Somewhere in the endless white of Siberia, where the wind screams like it's alive and the cold can stop a heart in minutes, a single human footprint crosses the trail of a dying tiger. Two lives are about to meet, and when they do, none of them will ever be the same. If stories about courage, kindness, and impossible bonds move you, stay with me till the end, and if you feel that pull in your chest while listening, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps stories like this find the people who need them most. The old woman's name was Anya Morozova, and she had lived alone at the edge of the taiga for nearly 20 years. Her wooden cabin leaned slightly to the left, as if bowing to the forest in quiet respect. Winters had taken her husband, her only son, and most of her neighbors, leaving behind silence so deep it rang in her ears at night. Yet every morning, Anya rose before dawn, wrapped herself in layers of wool, and stepped outside to greet the frozen world like an old friend. The cold hurt her bones, but it reminded her she was still alive. That morning, the storm came without warning. Snow fell thick and heavy, swallowing the trees and blurring the horizon into nothingness. Anya had gone out to check her trap lines, moving slowly, carefully, when she heard a sound that stopped her cold. It wasn't the wind, it wasn't a wolf, it was a low, broken groan, deep, powerful, and full of pain. She followed the sound, her heart pounding harder with every step. And then she saw her. A Siberian tiger lay half buried in snow, her once magnificent body trembling violently. One front leg was twisted at a terrible angle, dark blood staining the white ground beneath her. Her breath came in shallow, ragged bursts, clouds of steam fading quickly in the freezing air. And beside her, pressed close to her side, was a tiny cub, no bigger than a house cat, mewling softly as it tried to burrow into its mother's fur for warmth. Anya should have run. Every instinct screamed at her to turn back. This animal could kill her with a single swipe, even injured. But something else held her there. Maybe it was the cub's thin, desperate cry. Maybe it was the memory of her own son, sick and shivering in her arms years ago, when help had come too late. Or maybe it was simply that Anya had lost too much already, and she refused to lose one more soul to the cold. The tiger lifted her head weakly and locked eyes with Anya. There was fear there, yes, but also exhaustion, and something that looked painfully close to surrender. Slowly, carefully, Anya raised her empty hands and spoke in a low, trembling voice. She didn't know why she spoke. Perhaps words were all she had to offer. She told the tiger she wasn't there to hurt her. She told her the cold would kill them both if they stayed. Against all reason, the tiger did not attack. It took hours. Hours of agony, fear, and frozen fingers. Anya used her scarf to bind the tiger's leg as best she could. She dragged branches, broke them into a makeshift sled, and inch by inch pulled the massive animal toward her cabin. The cub never left its mother's side, its tiny body pressed against her fur, its eyes wide and unblinking. By the time Anya reached her door, night had fallen. She collapsed inside, sobbing from pain and exhaustion. The tiger lay just beyond the threshold, breathing but barely. Anya lit her stove, melted snow, and carried bowls of warm water outside, praying the animal would drink. When the tiger finally lapped weakly at the water, Anya cried harder than she had in years. The days that followed were a blur. Anya tore up old blankets to keep the tiger warm. She fed her scraps of frozen meat meant to last the winter. She cleaned the wound again and again, her hands shaking but steady with purpose. The cub, curious and fearless, soon began to explore the cabin, batting at Anya's dangling knitting yarn and curling up beside the stove like it belonged there. Word of the tiger spread slowly. A passing hunter saw the tracks. A ranger heard the rumor. When officials finally arrived, they expected to find a foolish old woman and a dead animal. Instead, they found a miracle. The tiger was alive, the cub was healthy, and the bond between them and Anya was undeniable. They wanted to take the tiger away immediately. Protocol, safety, rules. Anya listened quietly, then simply shook her head. She told them the tiger would die if moved too soon. She told them the cub would not survive without its mother. And she told them, with a fire in her eyes that surprised even herself, that she would not abandon them. Something in her voice made them pause. Weeks passed. The tiger's strength slowly returned. The cub grew bolder, stronger. And Anya, frail, bent, and weathered, found her days filled with purpose again. She spoke to the tiger as she worked, and sometimes, late at night, the great cat would lift her head and watch Anya through the cabin window, her eyes calm, watchful, almost grateful. When spring finally came, the decision was made. The tiger would return to the wild. The cub would follow. On the morning they left, Anya stood in the melting snow, her heart aching with pride and sorrow. The tiger paused at the forest's edge and turned back one last time. For a long moment, they looked at each other, two survivors of the same cruel winter. Then the tiger disappeared into the trees, her cub bounding behind her. Anya lived several more years after that. People came from far away to hear her story. Some didn't believe it, some did, but every winter morning, Anya still stepped outside, listening to the wind, smiling softly. Because somewhere out there, a tiger and her cub were alive because she chose compassion over fear. And maybe that's the quiet truth this story leaves us with. Even in the coldest places on earth, one brave act of kindness can keep life alive. If this story touched you, if it warmed something inside you the way it warmed a frozen Siberian winter, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. More stories like this are waiting, and sometimes, we all need a reminder that humanity still exists, even at the edge of the world.